This video contains content discussing violence, death, and murder. Viewer discretion advised.
Saint Perpetua, also known as Saint Perpetua of Carthage, was a courageous early Christian martyr who lived in the 3rd century AD. Her life, along with that of her companions, is chronicled in the account known as the Passions of Perpetua and Felicity, which is one of the earliest and most famous pieces of Christian literature from the Roman era. Perpetua was born into a noble family around 181 AD in Carthage, located in present-day Tunisia in North Africa. She was well educated and brought up in a comfortable environment. Despite being raised in a pagan family, Perpetua converted to Christianity at a young age, which was a bold decision given the risk associated with being a Christian in the Roman Empire at the time. In 203 AD, Perpetua, along with several others, including her pregnant slave Felicity, were arrested for their Christian faith during the persecution of the Emperor Septimius Severus. Despite being a nursing mother, Felicity was also sentenced to death alongside Perpetua. Perpetua kept a diary or journal during her imprisonment, detailing her experiences and visions. In her diary, Perpetua recounts her struggles and her unwavering faith amidst the challenges she faced. She described vivid dreams and visions she had while in prison, including encounters with God and spiritual battles. These writings provided valuable insights into the early Christian mindset and devotion to their beliefs. Perpetua and her companions were subjected to a trial before the Roman authorities. Despite pleas from her father and the Roman officials to renounce her faith, Perpetua remained steadfast. She famously declared, "I am Christian," sealing her fate. Perpetua and her companions were sentenced to be thrown to wild beasts in the amphitheater as a form of public entertainment. On the day of her execution, they walked to the arena with a sense of peace and resolve, inspiring many onlookers with their courage and faith. Perpetua reportedly remained calm and composed, even comforting her fellow prisoners. The story of Perpetua and Felicity's martyrdom has been influential throughout Christian history, serving as a testament to the strength of faith of martyrdom. Their story continues to inspire believers around the world to remain steadfast in their convictions, even in the face of adversity. Saint Perpetua's life exemplifies the courage and devotion of early Christians, and her legacy continues to be celebrated and revered by Christians worldwide.
Chapter 1. A number of young students were arrested: Revocatos and his fellow slave Felicitas, Saturninos, and Secundolos. And along with them was Vivia Perpetua, a newly married woman of good family and upbringing. Her mother and father were still alive, and one of her 2 brothers was a student like herself. She was about 22 years old and had an infant son at the breast. Now from this point on, the entire account of her testimony is her own, according to her own mind, and in the way that she wrote it down with her own hand.
While we were still with the prosecutors, my father, out of love for me, was endeavoring to persuade me to turn away and to cast me down from the faith. "Father," I said, "do you see this vase, for instance, lying here, or water pot, or whatever it may be?"
"Yes, I do,"
he said. And I told him, "Could it be called by any other name than what it is?" And he said,
"No."
"So neither can I be called anything other than what I am, a Christian." Then at this word, my father was so furious that he threw himself at me as though he would pluck my eyes out. But he only distressed me and then departed. He was, in fact, vanquished, he and his slanderous arguments. Then for a few days afterwards, I gave thanks to the Lord that I was separated from my father, and I was refreshed by his absence. During these few days I was immersed, and the Spirit directed me that after the water I was to make no other petition save for bodily endurance. A few days later, we were taken into the prison, and I was terrified, for I had never before felt such darkness. Oh, terrible day! Because of the crowds, the heat was stifling. Then there was the rough handling by the soldiers. And to crown it all, I was unusually tortured by anxiety for my infant. Then Tertius and Pomponius, those blessed ministers who tried to take care of us, bribed the soldiers to have us moved to a better part of the prison to refresh ourselves for a few hours. Everyone then left that prison and attended to their own desires. My infant, enfeebled with hunger, was brought to me, and I nursed him. In my anxiety, I spoke to my mother, and I tried to comfort my brother, and I gave my son into their care. I was in pain because I saw them suffering out of pity for me. These were the trials which I had to endure for many days. Then I obtained permission for my infant to stay in the prison with me, and at once I recovered my health, relieved as I was of my worry and anxiety over my infant. And my prison suddenly became a palace, so that I wanted to be there rather than anywhere else. Then my brother said to me,
"My dear sister, you are already in a position of great dignity. Surely you might ask for a vision, that it might be made known to you whether you are to be condemned or freed."
And I confidently promised him that I would, for I knew that I was privileged to converse with the Lord, whose great blessings I had come to experience. So I said, "Tomorrow I will tell you." Then I made my request, and this was the vision I had. I saw a bronze ladder of tremendous height, reaching all the way to the heaven. But it was so narrow that only one person could climb up at a time. And to the sides of the ladder were fastened all sorts of metal weapons. There were swords, lances, hooks, and daggers, so that if anyone tried to climb up carelessly or without paying attention, he would be mangled and his flesh would be caught on the metal weapons. And at the foot of the ladder itself reclined a dragon of extraordinary magnitude, which lay in wait for those who tried to climb up and deterred them from climbing up. Now Saturos was the first to climb up, for because he had been the builder of our strength, and because he had not been present when we were arrested, he had subsequently, of his own accord, delivered himself up for our sakes. And when he reached the top of the ladder, he looked back and said,
"Perpetua, I am waiting for you. But be careful, do not let the dragon bite you."
"In the name of Jesus, the Anointed One, he will not harm me," I said. And slowly, as though he was fearful of me, the dragon stuck his head out from underneath the ladder, and using it as my first step, I trod on his head and climbed up. And I saw an immense orchard, and within it, a gray-haired man was sitting, dressed in shepherd's sweet still in my mouth. And at once, I told this to my brother, and we realized that we would have to suffer, and that from now on we would no longer have any hope in this age.
Saint Perpetua is typically depicted in various forms of Christian art alongside her fellow martyr, Saint Felicity. Here are some of the common elements of Saint Perpetua's iconography. Saint Perpetua is frequently depicted in scenes of her martyrdom, often shown standing or kneeling in the amphitheater before the wild beasts or executioner. She may be portrayed with a calm and serene expression, reflecting her courage and faith in the face of death. In some representations, Saint Perpetua is depicted holding a scroll or book, symbolizing her diary or journal in which she documented her experiences, visions, and faith during her imprisonment. The emphasis her role as a writer and witness to the Christian faith. Saint Perpetua is often depicted alongside her fellow martyr, Saint Felicity. They may be shown embracing or holding hands, symbolizing their solidarity and companionship in martyrdom. Saint Felicity is often depicted as pregnant, highlighting her unique circumstances as a martyr. As a symbol of her noble background, Saint Perpetua is sometimes depicted wearing elegant or regal attire, such as draped robes or garments befitting of her status. This emphasizes her background and social standing before her conversion to Christianity. In some depictions, Saint Perpetua may be shown wearing a martyr's crown, symbolizing her ultimate sacrifice and victory over death through her martyrdom. This crown may be adorned with jewels or laurel leaves, signifying her heavenly reward and eternal glory. Since Saint Perpetua was martyred by wild beasts in the amphitheater, she is sometimes depicted with a lion, symbolizing the ferocious animals she faced during her martyrdom. The lion may be shown beside her or in the background, representing the circumstances of her death. As a saint, Saint Perpetua is often depicted with a halo or nimbus surrounding her head, symbolizing her holiness and spiritual enlightenment. This halo may be depicted as a golden circle or radiant light emanating from her head. These were some of the common elements found in the iconography of Saint Perpetua. Artists may vary in their symbols or interpretations, but these symbols collectively portray her as a courageous martyr, faithful witness, and saint of the Christian faith. Saint Perpetua is primarily known for her martyrdom and steadfast faith, rather than performing specific miracles during her lifetime. However, there are accounts of miraculous occurrences associated with her intercession or relics after her death. It's important to note that historical documentations of these miracles may vary in detail and authenticity. Here are just a few examples. There are accounts of individuals praying for Saint Perpetua's intercession and experiencing miraculous healings. These healings may include physical ailments, illnesses, or spiritual afflictions. Stories of individuals attributing their recovery or restoration to Saint Perpetua's intercession have been recovered over the centuries. Some believers have reported instances where they believe Saint Perpetua interceded in their behalf to protect them from harm or danger. These stories often involve individuals facing perilous situations such as accidents, violence, or natural disasters, and crediting Saint Perpetua for their safety and deliverance. Saint Perpetua's witness and martyrdom was inspired for countless individuals to convert to Christianity or deepen their faith. While not necessarily characterized as miracles in the traditional sense, these conversions are considered spiritual transformations attributed to the influence of Saint Perpetua's life, teachings, and example. Some devotees have claimed it to experience visions or spiritual encounters involving Saint Perpetua. These encounters may include dreams, apparitions, or mystical experience where Saint Perpetua is believed to have communicated messages of comfort, guidance, or encouragement to the faithful. Many Christians pray to Saint Perpetua for her intercession in times of need, seeking her help and protection. Devotees attribute answered prayers and favorable outcomes to Saint Perpetua's intercession, considering them as a sign of her ongoing presence and assistance in their lives. While specific details of miracles attributed to Saint Perpetua may vary, there, these accounts often reflect the enduring veneration and belief in her intercessory power among Christians throughout history. As with all saints, the recognition of miracles associated with Saint Perpetua is often based on faith and devotion within the Christian community. The process of sainthood, also known as canonization, typically involves several stages and criteria established by the Catholic Church. Here's a brief overview of how the process of sainthood would have occurred for Saint Perpetua. After Saint Perpetua's martyrdom, she was venerated locally by Christian community in Carthage and surrounding regions. Devotion to her may have grown over time as her story spread and her example of faith and courage inspired others. The recognition of Saint Perpetua's sanctity and holiness was recognized and based on her exemplary life, martyrdom for Christian faith, and the impact of her witness on the early Christian community. Her writings, particularly her prison diary, was the key and significant element and role in affirming her sanctity. Initially, devotion to Saint Perpetua was localized, with veneration centered around her tomb and relics. Local bishops and clergy would have encouraged this veneration and supported the preservation of her memory through prayers, liturgies, and commemorations. Over time, reports of miracles attributed to St. Perpetua's intercession would have emerged, further fueling popular devotion to her and her life. These miracles would have been investigated and authenticated by ecclesiastical authorities to verify their authenticity. Formal canonization process as we understand them today were not established in the early centuries of Christianity. However, the recognition of saints evolved over time with the formalization of canonization process by the Catholic Church in the medieval period. In the case of Saint Perpetua, her veneration would have been confirmed or ratified by the Church over centuries. Saint Perpetua's status as a saint was officially recognized by the Catholic Church through a papal decree. This recognition would affirm her place among the saints and authorize her liturgical veneration throughout the Catholic Church. A feast day was established in honor of Saint Perpetua, typically on the anniversary of her death, March 7th, in the Roman Catholic Church. This feast day provides an opportunity for the faithful to commemorate her life, martyrdom, and intercession. Saint Perpetua's process of sainthood would have unfolded gradually over time, reflecting the growth of her devotion to her within the Christian community and the official recognition of her sanctity by the church authorities. Her enduring legacy as a courageous martyr and witness to the Christian faith continues to inspire believers around the world.